Hello, Happy New Year. It's 2022, and this is the first Speakeasy online of the year. And yeah, good to see you guys. Hope you're keeping all right. This is called In the Name of God, Go, and I wrote it this afternoon. And there's been quite a few poems that I've tried to write about something else, and then I just get angry about Boris. So this is one of those. It goes like this. What difference can I make? You'll never know unless that first step you take. You may start a snowball. All sorts of people will heed the call. It may be tough and it may seem strange, but unless you act, you don't get change. If you ain't happy with the status quo, you got to send them a message to let them know. Maybe start a little revolution to enter the next stage of evolution. Will you reach true enlightenment with a change of government? Maybe, or maybe not. But just about anything is better than what we've got. We grow tired of the hypocrisy we pretend is our democracy. He lied in our parliament when he took to the floor. Please, won't someone show Boris the door? They'll replace him with another mad Tory to begin a new chapter of this sad, sad story. What kind of defence is, I don't know. A leader should read the writing on the wall, telling them to go. They say you're a liability. They say that you're spent. This party's over. Sorry, I mean works event. That's it, there you go. Thank you. Okay, Kelly, follow that.
That was, oh, sorry. Whoops, switched my video off by mistake. That was great, Phil. I think we all feel the same way about Boris. Will he please go now? This is a poem that was a response to a prompt we had in the writing hour that George and I were talking about. I think it was a poem by Alice Walker, which was a conversation between poetry and the poet. And this is my little conversation poem. It's 2 a.m. and I'm lying awake because poetry has put a really good line in my head. Why now, I groan. Write it down, says poetry, then you won't lose it. But once I get up, I won't be able to get back to sleep. Do I care, says poetry. I sigh, get my notebook, write the immortal line. Next day, I stare at it groggily. It doesn't seem so brilliant now. Poetry laughs heartlessly. You have to work out what it means, fill in the rest of the poem. But I'm too tired, I complain. And anyway, the moment has passed. Poetry looks unimpressed. If you miss one moment, another one comes along. You just have to wait.
Very good, very good. Yes. Yes, it's like that, isn't it, poetry? Sometimes you just get one idea and then another one comes along and knocks it out, and yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah. You're sort of verging on the territory that Juliet had with the bad poem and the those adventures of the poems that took on personalities. Yeah, no, it's good. I like it. Thank you very much, George. What you got for us?
Yeah, great. Yeah, I've suddenly remembered about a call out. It follows from your poem at the beginning there, saying Phil about Boris. There's a chap called Rip Buckley. I think it's Culture Matters. And he's got a call out at the moment. It's quick. He's doing an anthology. I think it might be online. an online anthology, and it's about the Tory government, or it's about the government, and he's wanting to satirise the party thing. I'm sorry, not the Tory party, the parties, which aren't parties, which are work meetings, as I'm having just now, and the various things. It's fish rots from the head is I think that it's going to be called Fish Rots from the Head. So if anybody's interested, and you can send anything off to him, he sent me an email, but he did say spread it around as much as you want. And he's looking for quick responses because it's the 24th. So I should have mentioned it maybe earlier, but I totally forgotten to some extent. But I just pulled it out just now because I wasn't going to read this, but I will now, listening to your thing about Boris. I'm going to read something which I dug out and edited slightly to send to him, but it's not strictly about the parties. So I'll read that now, if I may. Talking Boris. Beyond parody, in the realm of madness, our certainty scattered like bottle tops thrown round a Downing Street garden. It's pointless to groan, it's too late. We bought into this sadness, saw a fool, laughed and laughed ourselves blind. Joker, we said, in time of crisis, what we need over solemn politicians is a prancing steed, highlighting past glories, bringing to mind national heroes. Our St. George will slay Europe. Stupidly, we know he is a bumbling his way over and over to fail. We see him pretend work is cheese, wine, and only a dog would buy his lie for every occasion. The and a Greek quote, send a check and get to be a lord. See him grin and waddle fat and gross, remember who fed him and who pays. This is a comedy worthy of Aristophanes. Youth ages, immunity is outgrown. Ignorance can be educated and drunkenness sobered, but stupidity lasts forever. Yeah. Those last three lines are a quote from Aristophanes, which I had to look up, by the way, but I just thought it was so apt. Stupidity lasts forever.
So true, though. It's very true, yeah. That's brilliant that you used a Greek quote against him, the blonde buffoon. That's great. Thank you, George. Excellent. Janetto, hello.
Hello, and nicely leading in from stupidity lasts forever. Here I am. Anyway, I'm quite happy to wear a mask. I hope social distancing lasts in shops forever. But hearing the news today about mask wearing maybe not be mandatory again from next week, it reminded me of this poem I wrote in October 2020. Which seems a long time away now, but yet it's not. And it's called Street Sounds, Carlisle, 3rd of October 2020. A lulling of cloudburst, pause into silence, filling cup leaves, replenishing brooms, and accenting yellows. It pours on the pavement, glistening blackness, echoing footsteps, washing the words, lost behind masks, words losing melody with still hope for harmony. Thank you.
Thank you. You do that thing where you brilliantly sum everything up in just a handful of words. It's great.
Thank you. I wish I could do that verbally, but a bit of a waffler, but with a pencil I'm a little bit more succinct.
Oh, excellent stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you. Roz, what have you got for us?
I haven't actually written anything since last Wednesday. But anyway, I dug out this one, which stupidity is probably the better. Short, but not succinct, but there you go. This is my
MHS6, which is the gene that the defective gene that we share. You're on TV, you're so showbiz. What a fun thing a colonoscopy is. While high on gas and air, where hey, you watch your innards on display. The doctors here are all terribly sweet. Every 2 years they give me this treat. The reviews so far have all been great. It's my next performance that I await. And that was that I did a few years ago after I'd had one. Which all mine are fine, which is good.
Thank you for sharing that, Roz, I think. Thank you. Dear. Okay, back to me then. This is kind of a slightly ironic one, really, considering the medium that we're operating in, but it's called Can We Shut the Internet Off? Can we shut the internet off? Can we stop the cyberbullying? Stop the hate? Stop the spread of misinformation? Stop the vile comments? Stop the incitement of division? Stop the denial of facts? Would we miss the likes and dislikes? Many people share magical moments, jokes, trivia, creativity, work, education, life events. The pressure to post, to share, is there. We can't let it rule our lives. People need to rediscover their humanity. It's okay to turn it off and walk away. You might be better for it. There you are. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Cool. All right. Kelly, do you have another one for us?
Yeah, I've got a short one, which is about my day job as a freelance editor. I've had some quite distressing books that I've been working on recently. Editing memoirs. Sometimes I feel like Florence Nightingale wandering the battlefield at night, hearing dying men calling for their mothers, wishing I could reattach their severed limbs, pump the blood back into their veins. Looking back, perhaps it was a mistake to say I specialised in memoirs. I never thought so many wounded lives would fling themselves into my inbox, beg me to heal them, arrange them neatly on the page.
Wow. Yeah, it must be very powerful and very moving to read a lot of those memories and things.
Yeah, I do sometimes feel quite emotionally drained, though. I've had a few about, dealing with child abuse and just awful stuff that people go through, really. But they've had the courage to write about it, and I have to try and help them present it as well as possible. But yeah, it's hard. Yeah.
Well, it's good to be able to help people tell their stories. So keep up the good work. Okay, George, what have you got for us?
Yeah, I thought I've sent a couple off to that thing about the fish rots from its head. So I'll give you the second one that I actually sent. Whether they'll take them or not, of course, a different issue. But this is the voter's lament. All certainties have shriveled in their time. Those promises a politician makes, which I believed when young and innocent, are hollow, wicked lies of shallow men. I drown in the debris of a future once hoped, now seen as rotten, poisonous. The air is foul with greed and avarice. I spew my bile into a plastic bowl. I give the children lemons, say they're sweet. The poor, I tell, it is themselves to blame. and let the rich get richer on my blood. The sands of hope dribble from my hands, and I am bitter, lost, without a dream. The tide has pulled away and left the beach where we guddle in the excrement and wait for the tsunami of our wasted years. The wave is building. Will it sweep us clean?
Wow. Yeah, thank you, George. Yeah, you hit a few nails on the head there with that one as well. Yeah. Wow. Thank you. Janetto, what you got for us?
I've got one from Poetry for a Purpose, and I submitted this to Harry Gallagher from Up as well, and it's going to be in tomorrow's new magazine, so republished, but originally in Poetry for a Purpose. Last orders. The landlord had shouted last... Wait, I'll start again and get my teeth straight. The landlord shouted last orders, but bottles still settled in sand. Ignorance ignored the time bell. Arrogance took the command. Time was called, but disregarded. Greed washed warnings down, leaning on a marble bar that stole a mountain's crown. Chalices cracked into craters. Revelry retreated, exposed, as the sky became the last wrapper when the sea pulled its shutter and closed. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you very
Thank you.
much. That's great. And it's great that it's being published again by Harry Gallagher.
Yeah, that magazine that they put together, him and Bridget, is quite lovely. Yeah, they're quite some really good articles in there. Yeah.
Cool. We'll look out for that tomorrow then.
Right. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. You haven't got a dash off for your dinner, have you, Kelly? Ah! Is it soup or spaghetti?
I'm actually not sure what we're having. It's going to be a surprise.
Why, is it something else that begins with S? It'll be shepherd's pie or something.
Yeah. I'm really not sure, but it'll be interesting.
Oh dear, it's those old. See, this is one of our favourite things now about doing the online sessions.
Guess what Kelly's having for dinner?
Yeah, what Kelly having for dinner? Who's going to sign in first? How mad is Mark going to be when he tunes in?
Yeah. Just while we're waiting for Jeanette, I'll just mention that on Saturday there's a podcast which will have readings from me and Kerry from our joint collection, Glory Days. It's this Irish poet, Damien Donnelly, who does a podcast called Eat the Storms. So I'll put the link up on my Facebook page if any of you want to tune in. We're doing kind of 6 poems each, I think, alternated. So I think that'll work quite well.
What day is that, Kelly?
I think he's doing it on Saturday. And yeah, and it'll be on. You can listen to it any time, probably on Spotify and other things. But I'll put the link up.
You're bamboozling me now, Kelly.
I know I don't use Spotify, but I'm hoping I can hear it on something. I've forgotten where we've got to. We're waiting for Rozs.
Roz's gonna read us another one.
Yeah, sorry. Because I don't know. I found this, which I read apparently on the 12th of June in 2019 at Wild Zucchinis. So I haven't read it for a while either. So it's called Hopeful of Finding a Talent, because I am. I'm afraid I have let my talents rot, been somewhat imprudent since I did not tend and nurture them when they were growing, nor cultivate the ideas that were flowing, freely popping up in parts of my brain, where lost in its labyrinth they remain, abstracted, unable to formulate, without the artistry to demonstrate. My concepts have no form of expression, and I, no means to create an impression. I should have learnt an instrument to play, only that would involve practice every day. If I was not tone deaf, I'd write a song or a novel if they weren't quite as long, train as a potter and work on the wheel, or create sculpture out of iron or steel. Except it requires patience and hard graft to hone skills and master an art or craft, which I could do, but I'm inclined to shirk. I'd happily do it without the work. I'd much prefer to find a quick fix, become an artist with a pile of bricks. I'd drip colour around with skill and flair, then strip away form and paint a white square. Perhaps make a dress from a bin liner, call myself a punk fashion designer, learn a few lines and become an actor, a celebrity with the wow factor. Provided it isn't complex or hard, I would like to be held in high regard. Maybe poetry will be my breakthrough. I can write words that sound sincere and true. And then, like the picture with an extra tree for compositional integrity, poems can disguise reality, make unclear when the limit of my talent is near. I'll expend my effort and take my time and get down words that both scan and rhyme, necessary for poetry to do, although not sufficient to make it good too. And that was that. That was when I used to take a lot more time writing things, find some bigger words.
Rozs, that was wonderful. And we hold you in high regard. So.
Oh, well, that's very nice of you.
Oh, we do. You're very good. So, yes. And I'm sure you could do sculpture and all those other things as well. So, but they better watch out, all these other artists. Thank you, Rozs. Yeah, last time we had Peter Rafferty with us, and he sent his apologies for this evening because it clashed with another event. And he said one bit of news is that he tweeted one of his poems that we published in SpeakEasy 4 to Top Tweet Tuesday, and it got a pretty good response. And he thought people here might like to hear about that. And it's a side project of Black Boff Press, I think, and they like things to be an image or a visual poem, and short, and 10 lines or less for preference. And so if anyone has anything they think fits the bill, might be worth a go, and yeah, check them out. So you're all very good at succinct poetry, so yeah, they'll be inundated now with marvelous pieces of poetry. All right, yeah, this is one I came up with this afternoon, and it's called A Variety of Ways, and it goes like this. And though it ain't always easy to speak, you stand up bravely to read aloud. In sharing your words and your wisdom, you've become a firm favourite with this appreciative crowd. You've told us stories like of the Poplar Queen, decided workshops aren't quite your style. But you don't like it when they give a storm a name. But you'll always support the poets in and around Carlisle. You get to choose how to spend your everydays, living them out in a variety of ways. You may climb a mountain, treading in Wainwright's footprints, trundle round dry or rainy Lake District, in search of finely brewed pints. Take care where your boots step, as you watch plovers preening feathers. Take a tumble into gorse prickles, as you brush by purple heathers. You get to choose how you spend your everydays, living them out in a variety of ways. In search of myths and legends, following along a trail told in folk tales, a sense of wonder for Herne the hunter, stories shared over cakes and ales, a distinctive voice connecting, at times cheeky and knowing. Such words a breath of fresh air. It's your own song you're singing. And you get to choose how you spend your everydays, living them out in a variety of ways. There you are. Thank you. All right, Kelly, we're back with you.
Right. This is quite a new prose poem written in response to one that we had in the writing hour by, I think he was called Kay Miller, and it's called something like Definitions of Song. And I'm afraid mine is a bit depressing, but I'd just like to see how you react to it, really. Speaking of pain, pain can be felt in the head, heart, arms, legs, shoulders, groin, back, chest, and all points in between. A pain in the neck is sometimes a pain and sometimes a nuisance. Pain can be scored on a scale of 1 to 10. I need to sample my own pain memories to make sense of this, from a splinter piercing my finger to the exquisite pain when my eardrum burst. Torturers administer pain. Masochists find pleasure in pain. For the martyr, pain is ecstasy, transfiguration, a robe of flames, a crown of thorns. Is pain a reaction or a perception or both? People used to believe that lobsters and crabs didn't feel pain, but now researchers have proved what we always knew. Pain can supposedly be controlled by the mind, though some of those in pain would disagree. There's the dull pain of toothache, the sharp pain of a stitch, the long, slow pain of a relationship crumbling, the bottomless pain of loneliness or grief. And there's the pain of childbirth, sometimes numbed, sometimes embraced, depending on preference, culture, and the woman's pain threshold. When we cross that threshold, do we enter a room of pain? We learn to live with pain like an aging relative we can't abandon, but we also take painkillers to end pain, as if pain were the victim.
Wow, Kelly, that's very powerful, that piece. Yeah.
Thanks. You know how it is when you write something and you're not really sure, so that it's good that it speaks to people. Thank you.
Very much. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. We'll say hello to Chris. Hello, Chris.
Hello.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Are you up for reading something? Because you
I'm
can
not
go.
at the moment. I'm working on some things. I kind of, when I write, when I've written, it's always been out of somewhere rooted in personal experience rather than writing as a kind of a literary act. So I've got some stuff that I'm working on, but I wanted to do it as at the live event.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Okay.
So I'm just here to listen.
That's wonderful. It's good to have you here, and yeah, there'll be a live speakeasy next week in the Source. So I will look forward to hearing your stuff in person then, if you're able to come along. Cool. All right, where are we up to? George, do you have another one for us?
Can I just go back to Kelly about pain just for a second? Because I remember there was one point when I was in the hospital where I was in pain and they gave me morphine, and it was the strangest of things because I seemed to disappear until all that there was of me was the pain. that everything else about me dissolved and disappeared, but I was still conscious. I felt as though I sort of, it was like watching that dot on the television set, you know, the wee white dot. Well, sorry, you don't get it now. We used to get a wee white dot at the end of the night. Maybe people are old enough to remember that. And you see the pictures, and I felt like that, as though everything about me disappeared except the pain, which left it then. Anyway, sorry, but it's a great poem, Kelly. I loved it. Yeah. And actually, going back to Jeanette, this is a poem that I wrote at one of the events that Harry does at the Lighthouse, St Mary's Lighthouse. If anyone ever gets a chance to join him in St Mary's Lighthouse, it's a lovely day. It was a great event. This was at St Mary's Lighthouse. And also, it's in Scots. Apologise to everyone, but of course, we're approaching Burns Night, and you'll have gathered it's a steal of To a Mouse, but it's actually the reverse. It's sort of about the mouse's revenge in some ways. So this is Man Ploughs On. Giant, sleek it, angry, avenging, bestial, what a rage is in thy breasty, and max thee startle at me, thy sair earth-born companion, now wan wee mortal. I'm truly sorry my dominion has broken the natural lang syne union, say now I fear thy ill decision, your teeth are sharp and huge and killing, where I once did. My best laid schemes are shredded here, my blood runs cold, my heart is sere, shrunken, shilpit with prospects drear, how aft I backwards cast my e'e, now it's here but fear. When you began to tower above, how I pretended to care and love, but you saw through my proffered dove, and smiling yon smile I used to hae, with glee ye slaughtered. With apologies to Robert Burns.
Thank you, George. Really good.
I'm going to take my leave, but lovely to see you all. See you again soon, I hope. Bye.
Thanks, Kelly. Take care. Bye. There she is, off for her mystery dinner. Didn't know what it was going to be this evening. Okay. Excellent. Well, Janetto.
I hope it's not lobster.
Well, yeah. She'll be writing another poem about being a hypocrite if that's lobster. What have you got for us, Janetto?
Oh, it's a work in progress, but if you don't mind, I'll try and read it out to see if it makes some sense. It's called Life in the Library. Shush, some books are sleeping. Hush, between the pages words are breathing. Unturned covers hibernating. See how they beckon you. Listen as they lure you. They feed from man's knowledge, then feed man with knowledge. And there, satiated in tranquility, there's dreams for the dreamers, thoughts for the thinkers, lessons for the learners, philosophies and principles, bold and bright breakthroughs, maths and medicine, science and sociology, history and mystery. But beware and be aware, some show scars of industry with toxic tales, enabling empires with colonial commodities. True stories torn and tattered, in covers worn out, battered, written by the powerful for the powerful, edited in the name of civilization, published in the name of progress. Shush, some books are sleeping. Hush, between the pages words are breathing. Unturned covers just hibernating. See how they beckon you. Listen as they lure you. Question all their lessons in the aim that future learners quest for truth and then tranquility.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you. Was that from a visit to the library then? Was it?
Yeah, it was after I'd been to the Portico Library in Manchester when I was a little potter about in there. Yeah.
Yeah, magical places.
yeah, definitely. I love a little wander around Manchester, just myself, you know, so I can go to the Central Library, the Portico Library, the Art Gallery, and just spend as much time as I want in each building, not feeling like I'm holding anybody back. And yeah, does me good every now and again.
Yeah, excellent stuff. Well, if
Thank
you're going
you.
to produce poetry like that, it's definitely one that should be prescribed for everybody. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, and we could have a trip
Oh,
because yours lot will be all right. Yeah, yeah, because we'd all want to spend time in the place.
What's the Portico Library?
It's just opposite. Where is it? It's just along from the Central Library. I can't remember the name of the street.
Is it
It's
like
just
a
small.
normal municipal library?
Yeah, it's
Or
above.
is it specialist? Oh, right, okay.
No, it's they've got books from the old Manchester Polytechnics and
Ah,
all kinds. I think there is a Portico Prize for poetry. In
right.
fact, in Nick Pemberton's book, I think he won one of the prizes. I'm sure I saw that in there. But it's just lovely. It's just a lovely room with lots of old books, really old editions. And they've got a little coffee shop, you know, down at the back. Yeah, it's just wonderful. And this old clock. And I think the gentleman that made it was the gentleman that he had something to do with making Big Ben. But I think to make money, he used to go into the Portico Library and wind it up so that it would last for each week and then go back and wind it again. There's just all kinds of little tales in there.
Because I can remember index cards when I was a child going to the library and discovering index cards. So you could find books and subjects, which was a very exciting thing for me.
Yeah, I'm sure they've still got boxes of those in there, you know. Yeah, definitely worth a visit.
that's brilliant. Yeah, a real treasure trove of places.
And so the pub, so you can go for refreshments afterwards. Sorry.
You're
Go
getting
for a
this
pint.
planned out. Okay, you let me know, and we'll you know, when things are okay, we'll go down there and yeah, speakeasy on tour.
Yeah, SpeakEasy day out.
Fantastic. Okay, Roz, do you have another one for us?
Another old one. This is just happens to be on the next page to the other one, so you can have it. It's called Battleground. Yeah, it means something to me. I don't know if it actually makes any sense to anybody else. You were born to fight. The doomed heroine, flawed and vulnerable, malformed and disfigured, a monster hides within. When it attacked you and turned you blue, we took it out and cut it, forced it into servitude. But the monster rebelled. It did not want to work for you. We regroup and rearm. The fight is not over. Your body is under constant attack. The monster is monitored, under surveillance constantly. We do all we can and keep the monster working. We give it electric shocks to make it pump. You take magic potions to control it. It cannot rest. But the monster is damaged and dying. The battleground is shrinking. Soon there will be nowhere left to go. The last battle is coming, one you must win. You are my heroine, and you will fight to the death. And that's it.
Wow. That was amazing, Roz. That was, yeah. I'm lost for words, really, but that was.
I don't know if it makes any sense if you don't know what I'm talking about, but there's sort of clues in, but maybe not enough to make it.
Yeah. Oh, I think I have a fair idea.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey ho. Well, I could tell you, but then I'd bore you all to death. So
It's not. Okay, we'll keep it a mystery. Thank you, Roz. Thank you. Okay. All right, we're back to me. I've got this one. This one came out of interviews that were done with people about mental health when we did the Mind Trees of the Urban Forest project a couple of years ago. And people were very candid about their experiences with mental health, and it sort of got me to thinking a bit. And these words came to me, and it's called the Shadow Man. The Shadow Man says you can. The Shadow Man says you can't. The Shadow Man never leaves you. He is wrapped around your mind and twisted through your heart, maybe out of sight. From the corner of your eye, you can always sense his presence. The Shadow Man says, don't do it. The Shadow Man says, you're no good. The Shadow Man gets inside you. He knows what buttons to press and which levers to pull. Maybe you could run away, leave him far behind, but he reaches out and touches you. The Shadow Man remains at large. The Shadow Man waits and bides his time. The Shadow Man wants to keep you down. He seems to know you like a friend and will be there till the bitter end. Maybe it's easier to let him win. You don't see the shadow in yourself. The Shadow Man is always there. The Shadow Man inverts your hope. The Shadow Man erodes your dreams. He will tell you lies, and in time these blur your truth. Maybe he is right all along, you begin to think and feel. The Shadow Man is waiting. The Shadow Man wants you to himself. The Shadow Man hides behind your eyes. He makes your mouth run dry and ties knots in your stomach. Maybe there is only darkness within. You feel shudders down your spine. The Shadow Man will rob you of your memories. The Shadow Man takes away your victories. The Shadow Man will drive away your self-worth. He won't tell you where you are going and who you have become. Maybe these are the questions best to ask yourself at the setting of the sun. How do you kill the Shadow Man? Try to shine all the time. Remember that magic within. You have a choice. He can't silence your voice. You can stand up tall, face the world and not feel small. Scream and shout, tell everyone about it. Let the real you out. Pick yourself up and run from the darkness to the light. Let the Shadow Man know you're not going down without a fight. There you are. Thank you. Cheers. Thank you. All right. George, have you another?
That was great. So it made me think about that thing about not split personalities, but I sometimes think the poet's the person that's never quite reconciled the personalities within and can sort of step beyond it, and therefore becomes a kind of, it's almost as though the person that lives their life is separate from the poet. But I'll not go into too much of that because madness lies there, which is pretty close to being a poet, I think, but never mind. I'll shut up now and I'll read something. I'm for my pains, I'm actually the chair of Lochwinnock Writers, and one of the ladies in Lochwinnock Writers came to me and said, I'm having difficulty getting back into writing, but she's had health problems. She said, so I thought it'd be great if I contacted you and said, give me a prompt. And I was just standing looking out the window, and it was a typical Scottish morning. And I said to her, how about writing something about the beauty of rain? But she didn't hear me quite correctly. And so she repeated the duty of rain. And I actually thought that was a better prompt than the one I'd given her. So I said to her, well, why don't you write about the duty of rain or the beauty of rain, or just anything about rain? But having said that, I then thought I'm kind of duty bound. As I'm giving the prompt, I feel that when you give a prompt, you're duty bound to see if you can bloody write something about it. So this is the duty of rain. The duty of rain is to surprise, leap from a clear sky, cloud creeping under sun, disguising showers as summer, catch the outstretched hand, eyes drawn upwards to see the hordes falling. It's to hear thunder's call, mount up and scatter the sky until streets swamp and rivers flood. Storm hills take the plains, overwhelm every ditch and defense. Dam the dams, plunge memory into another winter. It's to revive frozen ground and release spring, the surge of birth, the breaking waters, wash away grey with bloom of green, shoots to savour this elixir, sap of gods returning the song of waterfall and brook, cleansing, anointing.
That was excellent, George. What's your next prompt going to be then?
I had no idea. I chickened out the next week. I think I did suggest something to her, but I can't remember what the hell it was. So I'll find out when she writes something.
Oh, excellent stuff. Okay, Janetto.
Hello. Oh, right. Thanks to George, I have a go at the visual verse prompts regularly now. And the current one, I don't know if this will show. It's that photo there. Does that come through? With some mermaids in a bath and some seals. So I let my mind wander. And this is called The Good Intentions of Becoming Immersed in a Guided Meditation. I must remember to buy nail polish remover when I get out of here. But for now, I don't need to recall anything. It's just me, this moment, and a lapping of water, an overdue promise. It's a time to escape in a slumber of seals with distraction of dreams. For now, I'll close my eyes to everything. It's just me, this moment, the lapping of water, and a mockery of mermaids. Where did they come from? Where did my thoughts go? Caught in clouds, obsessing on mountains. But for now, I'll ignore them, anything and everything. It's just me, this moment, the lapping of water, and a yellow toy duck. Drifting back into adulthood, reflections get murky, and bubbles don't clean the bath as well. For now, I'll lose myself in anything, not everything. It's just me, this moment, the lapping of water, taking untravelled travels. Socks will shield the scuffs and scrapes when I get out of here. But for now, I'll unplug the plug on everything. It's just me, this moment, the lapping of water, and my driftwood mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Brilliant. Can share the poetry from the driftwood mind anytime. That's great. Brilliant. Cool. Okay. Roz, have you another one for us?
Next page. This one says SpeakEasy in 2020, so you've probably forgotten it. It's called 60 something. To my mounting list of things to bemoan, I can add the loss of my muscle tone. This deterioration has left me weak, forcing me to accept I'm past my peak. It seems after you've hit the big 6-0, there's only one direction things will go. Even if I move north of Cockermouth, the rest of my body's still heading south. The lack of muscle means there's no support to hold things in place or keep the skin taut. So now it looks baggy, wrinkly and thin, with strange bulges where it can't hold me in, while sagging bits I'd rather not mention need underwear out with full suspension. And my belly floppity goes, as it heads steadily towards my toes. So now I can barely imagine that. Once my stomach had been rock hard and flat. then I wonder, will I still look like me in the body I have at 70? And that was one of those two things. I was in the shower and I just thought, oh God, my belly's ploppity ploppity, and the whole thing grew out of that.
Oh, goodness.
Perhaps it shouldn't have bothered, eh?
Don't know what to say about this. I think there was a sort of a link there.
Because you haven't got there yet. Yeah.
There seemed to be a kind of watery theme developing there. All right, we're all back in the room. So we'll maybe dash round again one more time, and Chris might have something to read at the end as well. So
Very short. It's just some punchline to a joke that I wrote down once.
cool. All right, we'll look forward to that. Okay, this is a piece called Boris Says, and it goes like this. Boris says, work from home. Boris says, only go out for exercise 1 hour a day. Boris says, only essential shops are open. Boris says, stay alert, save lives, follow the rules. Boris says, no mixing indoors. Boris says, only meet one person, socially distanced, outdoors. Boris says, we're all in this together. Boris says, no parties. Boris says, the police have powers. Boris says, the experts who broke the rules must go. Boris says, Dominic Cummings didn't break the rules, but even he went. Boris says, Matt Hancock has his full backing, but he resigned when he broke the rules. Boris says, he is disgusted at Downing Street parties being found out. Boris says it is right for his media star to resign for her mocking the brazen rule breaking while millions adhered to the guidelines and loved ones were lost. Boris says he's sorry for what he thought was a works event. Resign. Show a shred of decency. But he won't, because you didn't say Boris Says. There you are. I think it's about the level we're at, actually, so yeah. Okay, George, what have you got?
Right, I've been searching through stuff because there's stuff that I can't remember if I've read before or not. I'm pretty sure I haven't read this, so I'll just go. I was just trying to scan through it quickly while you were reading, Phil, but it was too good for me to actually look at. So I'll just read it as it is. I've got no idea where it goes. He wasn't superstitious, but he still threw spilled salt over his left shoulder, would not walk under ladders. That, he explained, was only sensible, as he'd seen a man brained by a can of paint, though he could not say where or when, but swore it was true. He saluted magpies standing to attention, which didn't half interfere with digging up the potatoes. Swore when the horseshoe went askew on the hut door and swung to spill out any good fortune into the night air. He nearly slapped me that time to show what bad luck meant, what happened if you forgot the ancient truths. He said a dark man visited in the night. I laughed and asked how much he had had to drink. And that evening, ranting at the evening news, he suddenly shouted, "Bugger," and went still.
Wow, George, you just end with a very powerful last line. Amazing. That's good, man. Very good. Thank you. Janetto.
I agree. That was very, very powerful. It's one of those last lines that is going to stay with you, isn't it? An excellent poem throughout. Should I chuck in a couple of haiku? I looked up before, Portico Libraries on Mosley Street, and by the Bank pub, if you just go around the corner, there's a little door, you just press the bell and they'll release the door and you just go up the stairs if anybody wants to have a little look before we have our trip out. Okay, so a little haiku that was inspired that very same weekend. Manchester music, still holding the rain, my umbrella. And let's see what else I have got. Here we go. It's kind of on the lines of your rain poem, George. Petals open, anointing the morning, dewdrops. And one more, if that's all right. Clear out of clutter, I trace my name in the dust.
Hey.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Okay. Roz.
Another old one from 2020. It's called Speaking My Minds. I've noticed when I write poetry, the device for which I have a tendency is to use the I voice like it was me, no matter whose perspective I can see. Regardless of whether I disagree, I'll babble on schizophrenically, as if someone else was in my body. Then there's this other strange anomaly. I tend to say us when actually the person I'm referring to is me, which suggests there's a possibility that I have a split personality. And the person talking is not I, but we. My condition provides the luxury of looking at least superficially, as if there might be something more to me than there actually is in reality. Since it's never my whole person, you see, me, myself, is not exposed totally, creating this position of safety from which I present work that, honestly, no one sane could consider poetry. What was that?
Thank you, Roz, the poet who definitely writes poetry. Excellent. Thank you, Roz. Okay, Chris, what's this piece you got?
Oh, this is kind of, I started a thing where I was trying to do like very short kind of one-liners, and I started it and then it kind of never went anywhere, but this is the only one I wrote. And it was like, I don't know what it is. It goes like this. Mariah Carey's agent approached the annual conference of the NFU, suggesting that the farmers might like Mariah to perform for them because of her 8-Octane Range Rover.
Oh dear. I think that was worth waiting for, man. That was great. Thank you very much, Chris. Yeah, good stuff. Cool. I think that brings us to the end of another online speakeasy. So thank you all for joining in. Give yourselves a round of applause for everyone who read, which is all you guys, and everyone who listened as well. That's you guys too.
Thank you, Phil.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. It's got my head in. I've been doing lots of visual art recently, so my head's been in not word space. So it's kind of good to get heads back into words.
It's
My
great.
heads, there we go. There's that we thing again.
Hey. Well, we've been thrilled to have you here, so it's great. So good to see you all. So yeah, we'll do it again next month. Yeah, and maybe see you at the real life speakeasy next week at the Source. But yeah, until then, stay safe and all the best. Take care.
Thank you. Thanks, Phil, and good to see y'all. Bye.
Good
Cheers.
luck, everybody.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.